Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today, let's take a look at the 2025 Audi SQ6 E-Tron with the Prestige package. Huge shout out to Audi Northlake for providing this SUV for me today. Take a look at their website, that link is down in the description. This E-Tron is finished off in glacier white metallic with an MSRP just over $84,000. Now this is a full EV SUV, so it's powered by a 100 kilowatt lithium ion battery along with dual motors. It also features a single speed transmission, and it can pump out up to 510 horsepower, 483 horsepower on regular use, and then there's launch control to add that added power. You get 543 pound-feet of torque, all sent through the quattro all-wheel drive system. This 5,500 pound SUV can do 0 to 60 in just under 4 seconds. Top speed is 143 miles an hour. It also has a total range of 276 miles, and then its wheelbase is 113.8 inches. Its overall length is 187.9. It has a width of 77.4, a height of 66.8, and its ground clearance measures in at 8.5 inches. Now with this model here, it has a very distinctive front end design, especially with all of the gloss black accents. You'll notice that on the Audi badge, where there's also a forward-facing camera, and then gloss black trim accents where cutouts would be if this was a gas version. Gives it a really cool design with all of the integrations. There's also parking sensors up front too. There's also gloss black for the grille surround, and then you'll notice too there's dark housings for the headlights, which are actually in the lower section, and then you have the turn signals and DRLs in that upper section there. There's also a lot of cutouts in the lower section along with a sensor for distance pacing, and they get some more accents on both sides and some lines that come down the hood. Now, since this is a full EV, you do get storage space up front. There's nowhere to release that from the outside, so you have to go into the driver footwell in order to do that, and then you get some added space up front where you can place additional items. So it's a good use of space for up front. Now this model also has the optional 21-inch wheels. There's massive red brake calipers too. You get body colored fender arches to give it a great look. And then there's gloss black for the power folding side mirrors with a camera and a turn signal. This also gets a full moonroof up top. And then there's gloss black for the window trim. It's also in the lower trim accent where E-Tron is stamped on that back section. And then there's some really nice edges and lines that run down the side to give it a great look. Now in back, there's the body colored spoiler along with the third brake light, wiper blade down below. You get that new Audi badge, which is blacked out, LEDs for all of the lighting, and then a backup camera, all of the sensors, and more gloss black accents. Now you can use the key fob to open up this section, or you can use the button up underneath to gain access to your cargo space, where for its size, you have a good bit of space. There's also storage pockets on both sides. This also has an adaptable suspension, so you can raise and lower the rear end. If you're putting in some items, you can lower that to make it much easier. You can also fold down the back seats from the back, so you can just pull on those tabs there. And then you also get some storage underneath, so you can place some items, maybe the charging cable and things like that. And then you have two buttons up top. You can close that lift gate or lock the vehicle too. Now, if it does lock, you do have the proximity door handles, so you can unlock it from here. And then take a look at the interior with all the Alcantara matte black accents, Bang & Olufsen for your audio, and then some storage down below, and the red leather seats, which give it a great look. You can also pull on these tabs here to fold down the seats. So you have two different ways that you can do that. Now at 5'10", I have a good bit of space. There's storage pockets behind both front seats. You have vents down below along with temperature. These are even heated seats too. And then at my height, I have about an inch and a half or so of headroom. So honestly, I could ride around town and be very comfortable in the back. Now there's also the armrest with two cup holders, and you can also fold down this middle seat if you need to do that. And as you can tell, there's quite a lot of glass in the back, so it gives you a lot of visibility overall. This model also has the black optics package, the 21-inch wheels, Napa leather like I mentioned, and then the Prestige package with all of those options. So it is very well equipped. Now up front, you'll notice the same materials. There's also this panel here, which is nice to see. You have lock and unlock, your headlight adjustments, so you can turn all those on. Power folding side mirrors are just underneath that, memory seating controls, and then your lockout for the rear seats. There's the window controls, liftgate release, and more storage down below. So a really cool panel to see all those controls on. And then you do get massaging seats along with all the automatic adjustments and a really cool design with the S badge there and all of the gray stitching. It's also a low SUV, so it's easy to enter where we have a flat top and bottom design for this steering wheel. Now you'll notice this also has paddle shifters on both sides, so that will be interesting to use once we get this out on the road. It also has a heated steering wheel. You have tuning, volume, even a favorites button that you can use. When you push on this, the whole panel actually goes down too. But for your favorites, you have a lot that you can configure depending on what you use. There's also cruise control along with distance pacing, and then you have these controls here for the gauge cluster. Now if I push on view, we will notice that it is going to change slightly, so you'll notice the information on the left and the right disappeared. And then you can also decide which side you want to go through information. So if I push on the left button, we can go through that side. If I push on the right button, we can toggle between that side there too. And then you have the arrows where you can scroll down within that information too. So pretty neat, pretty easy to go through. And then you also have a head-up display, so you can look at miles per hour and the speed limit sign. Now you do get some storage on this left side, along with Alcantara, which is a fantastic touch. There's also leather for the dash, and then coming back to the infotainment system, you have quite a lot that you can go through. Now everything is basically fixed in the lower section and on the far left. So you can always get back to home by going there. You have 4 squares that you can push on to get through all of these icons. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you have driver assistance, even your charging, different settings to get into. You can quickly pull up the navigation, get into your phone when you have that paired. You have various settings that you can go into just to configure this the way that you would like. You also have your audio. You can get into your charging, so you can monitor all of this. You have departure times, fast charging, and even charging locations too. And then the last one is going to be the store, so you can go through that information when needed. In the lower section, you have all of the climates. So there's temperature, you have the heated seat adjustments, you have off, along with menu too, so that way you can go through all of this, where you can view it all, even get into your rear adjustments too. So it's laid out incredibly well for you to get through this info. You can even swipe over too, and now you have some safety features up top, and you can go through all of that. So I really like the layout. It's one curved screen. It's not too large. It gives it a great look. You have more Alcantara underneath that, along with air vents. There's also some auxiliaries and a lot of storage, including wireless charging on that backside. Now you also have power and volume, along with the hazards and a shortcut to drive select. So you can get into the different driving modes, including off-road, efficiency, comfort, dynamic, and individual. And when we bring this back up, we have the lift here, so you can raise and lower the suspension as needed. There's also the start-stop button. You have a shortcut to the camera system, so you can pull that up. What's really neat about this system as well is that when you turn the steering wheel, the camera actually turns as well. So it's going to face the direction of the steering wheel, which is pretty helpful depending on the situation that you are in. You can also bring it up in full screen too, and then you have the forward-facing camera and the top-down view with a few adjustments to go around the vehicle. So you have no shortage of visibility. There's also this control here where you can get into some of this information that you can turn on and off. Now you have reverse, then you have drive, even B mode, which is the engine braking system, and then park is in front of that. There's 2 cup holders. You have more Alcantara for the armrest, where you have a good bit of storage underneath. And then you have the glove box with more storage, and you even get a passenger screen as well. So it looks like you have quite a lot that you can go through. You can get into the navigation, pull up the audio. You have all of these apps here that you can further go through, even getting into the vehicle settings to adjust all of this information. You have the massaging too. So you can get into that for both seats, it looks like. So you could adjust your driver's seat if needed. And then you have your phone. You can even shut this screen off if you would like to. And it looks like you have a good bit. This seems like a very easy system to use and go through as a passenger. And then up top, you have garage door buttons up top, and along with the controls for the sunshade and sunroof and dome lights on both sides. And then here's a look at visibility. Pretty easy to see. You have a lot of glass. So it definitely makes it easy to see over both shoulders. As we set off behind the wheel now for this SQ6, I was able to drive a Q6 several months ago when it was first released. Now we are in the more power version with pretty much a fully loaded SQ6. This also has ambient lighting. It's a strip that runs from speaker through the dash all the way to the other speaker. And this also has lane keeping assist that will pop up on the head-up display. So if you go too far to the left or the right, you will see a red marker line up and show you which way the road is turning, which is pretty neat to see. That is about it for the head-up display, but some nice tech features like that. And we have the power operating telescoping steering wheel too. So let's put this into B mode, which is basically the engine braking. So without putting my foot on the brake pedal, that will help regenerate the battery, give you some more charge, and you can basically do one pedal driving depending on the situation that you are in. So city driving, that is going to be a lot more beneficial, and then you can put it back into drive and use the paddle shifters. So the paddle shifters are going to give you some of that recharge without doing the full braking system. So by letting my foot off of the brake, we're going to coast but slow down slightly, and then if I hit the positive paddle all the way back up to basically off, we're just going to coast like a normal vehicle. So you have some very nice electronic aids like that with a full EV system. None of that is new, but it is nice to see that, of course, depending again on how you are driving. Now, from what I've read, this has launch control. I haven't seen how to activate that to get the full horsepower, but of course, I won't be putting my foot to the floor in today's video or doing launch control, but this still has a good bit of power. So we will slow down and then give it a small acceleration. Here we go. And seamlessly, it gets up to speed. And of course, you're not going to hear anything either. It's a nice, quiet ride. It's also very comfortable too, especially with the adaptive suspension. So that is going to really give you the comfort that you are looking for. And also, depending on if you have to take this on a gravel road or something like that, you need some more ground clearance, you can put it in the off-road setting and get that maximum ground clearance. So it's good for situations like that if you come across them, but it's very beneficial for driving situations. Now let's also put this into dynamic mode, which is going to lower the vehicle slightly. It's going to stiffen up the suspension a little bit too to make it handle corners a little bit better for its weight. So it can carry its weight through those turns just going at a normal rate of speed. It's not a vehicle meant for doing some corners like that, but you do get some of that added handling characteristics, especially when you put it into a mode like that. So it can handle these turns at normal rates of speed. And of course, you have a few other settings here like efficiency and efficiency plus, where it will change the gauge cluster and it shows you all green there. So that way you can get a little bit better MPG with this EV. And we're back in dynamic mode. Here we go. Just a mild acceleration. With its 0 to 60 time right around 4 seconds, that's pretty adequate or respectable for this 5,500 pound SUV. So it's definitely not a slow car, especially for its weight. You can get up and move. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the SQ6. I think this is a fantastic interior. With all of the materials, just the layout and the technology features, you really don't think that you are in an EV until you start driving it and obviously hear the hum of those batteries. But everything else, if we could see this in some of the gas versions from Audi for their newer models, I think this is a fantastic interior. Everything is very easy to use. I like the sizing of these screens, including your passenger screen, which is becoming a little bit more popular in a few models that I've recently been able to check out. By far, I think that has the most information that your passenger can go through. So that is nice, just if they want to use that and go through that tech. But this is a really comfortable place to be. Seats are also very nice. We have the height adjustment too. So at my height, 5'10", I have probably 4 inches or so of headroom. And then of course you can raise and lower this depending on your height. So you can be much taller than me and fit in this smaller size SUV, which is a great bonus if you're not looking for a large vehicle. So this is going to be something that is easy to drive, easy to maneuver in parking lot situations. Not sure if you'll be able to see the lane keeping assist, but I'm trying to get that to show up slightly. It's red at the moment, if you could barely see that. And we don't have rear wheel steering or anything like that for this model, but we are able to do that there. So again, very easy for those situations. And then back on the accelerator, and we can seamlessly get back up to speed. If you are in the market for an EV, this Audi I think is definitely my favorite so far of the EVs that are available. And of course, you don't have to go with a fully spec'd model. You can go with a Q6 too, if you're not looking for additional power, a little bit more range in that model as well. You have so many different options to go with for this latest EV from Audi. So that's going to wrap it up for the 2025 SQ6 E-Tron. Once again, huge shout out to Audi Northlake for providing this for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.